Alright, 3 packages. Oh, come on. Let's see, first, I got that. I'm just trying to be careful with that damn receipt. This one, let's open that one last, because this will be the anime for this week. Because I'll get the sleeves up here. This allows us to create a nice little pile, and then we can deal with this. Because see, this is 2 more Switch games, and at this point I now no longer have space for Switch games because I also got a couple more. But let's actually take a look at the Sonic Mania Plus one, because this one's interesting. First of all, because the case is different. You can see that it came with a booklet. Actually, if I'm looking, you know, it's a neat little booklet. This little cardboard thingy moves around. The neat thing is this cover. One of the things interesting about this is it supports up to 4 players. Kind of curious, but it's got a reversible cover, which looks very Sega Genesis-y. Which I'm not going to do just because I'm putting this in with my other Switch stuff. Well, maybe it doesn't matter because it'll be in this box. But, you know, this is old school style Sonic fun. I don't know anything about the new characters. I got Go Vacation because, you know, these seem like a collection of okay minigames, and I will have commentary on that later. And these are what arrived today: Slaim Back from Hell and the Coma Recut. This one, I guess I was just kind of intrigued. I'm not sure if I'll be firing it up in this one. Yeah. It might be a neat platformer. I guess in the other non-anime front, we've also got, I finally picked up Kyogre and Groudon. Now granted, you can get them in the game, but now I got level 100 ones that I can soft reset for. So let's just start looking at these. First we got Planetarian. I think I remember basic premise from preview, and it looked interesting enough, although I don't know the premise of what exactly she is. Let's see, looking on the back, I'm just having trouble processing because there are 2 things. You got a movie and OVA 1 through 5. So maybe a movie version and an OVA version, or maybe they're different content for the same thing. You can see it's Region A, Funimation, so it's no surprise that it's got an English dub, even though Funimation has some stuff that aren't. This is OVA for DVDs, or DVD for the OVAs, DVD for the movie, Blu-ray for the OVAs, and Blu-ray for the movie. Kind of a simple disc release, but interesting. I always forget to put these inserts back in. Next up we have Eureka 7 High Volume High Evolution 1. Is this a movie, I guess? I got the impression that this might be somewhat related to stuff prior to the events of Eureka 7. Ooh, regions A and B. There's an English dub. It'd be kind of weird if it wasn't dubbed. The problem is the concept that it's 4 times is weird because he's there. And that would be inconsistent with some stuff, I guess. let's see. Yeah, this looks like it's movies. So these are a series of movies. So maybe it's not the main character from the main series, but somebody else. He dresses the same, so that'd be weird. Well, you got DVD and Blu-ray versions. This time, I'll bring this. Oh. Huh. The artwork from the DVDs on the inside, which is neat. Next up, we got Classroom of the Elite, which I've actually, my brother mentioned having enjoyed it. Wow, this is 3 Funimation releases and 1 Aniplex. It's a smaller variety than usual. And of course, this sticker didn't come cleanly off. This is a real stupid sticker. Come on. It's annoying because it's just like one little remaining thing and then we continue on. Oh look, regions A and B. There's an English dub. So I think I understand the general premise of this. Like, this is another one of those secretly badass animes, except I think there's a couple characters who are. Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2, DVD 1, and DVD 2. But I don't know the exact nature of it all. All I know is my brother was enjoying it. Our interests do have tendencies to overlap. Probably because we grew up on a lot of the same stuff. So I'm kind of curious. He never finished it. I think I was more... I think it's easier to finish something when you can marathon it. And then last but not least, we have Eromanga Sensei Volume 2, which might finish it. I don't know. Now granted, I remember mentioning interesting things about the first one. Not exactly what I said, but enough such that, yeah, I did look at both. Does this say which region? I don't know that Aniplex is normally as advertising of that stuff, because maybe it doesn't matter as much. You know, a neat little art book. A card. You know, characters. Loose disc. Email. Disc 1. Disc 2. Front, back, or is... I guess there isn't enough detail text. There's text down there, but none down there. So that kind of supports the idea that this is front and back, even though in Japanese it might be the other way around, but these discs images are the opposite, and that's just a background. So yeah, simple enough update this week. This week's anime DVD collection update. So I might have watched another episode of Ura Meirocho, but I'm not sure if I have much to comment on there. This last week, some things are a bit more of a blur. Yeah, because I can't think of anything here that I watched, because my priority has been primarily getting through Octopus Traveler. I need to reach a stopping point so that it's not consuming most of my free time around the time that Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate comes out, if I'm going to play that. So I've expanded to the point where I have now... My goal as of last night was, I think the night before, I had gotten to my first final level town, and I had gone through and done some purchasing and talking and scrutinizing of all the townsfolk, and maybe went to 1 or 2 other areas. And last night my goal was to get to all of them so I could go to any of those towns, then go through all their shops and their townsfolks and whatever quests was immediately obvious to me how to complete, and just get my party set up for endgame stuff, because you know these are the final towns and I think the final arcs of the stories, but I could be mistaken. But at the same time, you know, you get introduced to new areas and there's new caves, and there's certain caves that piqued my interest, and I peeked online and confirmed that they are what I thought they were. And so last night I finished going to the towns, talking to the townsfolk and stuff, and went to the first one of those. And as I suspected, there was a special boss fight there, and I was actually holding my own pretty well up until suddenly he did an ultimate thing, and absolutely all of my party members got completely wiped. You know, that tends to bring a halt to your stuff, especially since I've got other projects I've been working on. Like, I'm doing something at work which is helping them prepare for a Super Smash Brothers tournament. And yesterday I was preparing the hardware for that, because today I'm going to pack it all up and take it to work tomorrow, where we're doing our hardware test for the stuff to make sure everything's working. And so there's just a lot in preparation for that. But there's been other distractions thanks to the weekend. I mean, Friday was just shot. Thursday, I forget what happened on Thursday, but apparently I wasn't watching anything. Maybe I was just watching YouTube videos. But no, instead, because I went to pick up Kyogre and Groudon, I purchased 2 Switch games. You know, I was kind of interested in Sonic Mania. It seems like a good variety to add to my library. I'm not a super huge fan of the old school Sonic stuff, just because the physics are a little weird to me. It's pretty cool, but it feels like I just get lost, I guess, in it. Maybe there's a mindset to have, I don't know. But it was a good purchase, and it'd be interesting to see if I can understand how that up to 4-player thing works, because multiplayer games are worth it. Now, I also fired up from last week Touhou Genso Wanderer Reload, and it's interesting. You know, there's mixes of it that are quality for Touhou and things that are, oh, this is a very fan-made Touhou game sort of thing. So it's like there was something that exists and they added stuff on top of it. Maybe. And it's interesting to hear voices for the Touhou characters. It's actually interesting to see what's-his-face in an actual game, because I've known he existed, but I've never played any of the games that he's in, if he's been in any of them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been in games, because he's one of the few notable male characters, or male characters, period, in there. Unless there's been a recent explosion of them. But given the kind of nature of the fandom, probably not. So it was interesting, but I don't know if I'm going to be playing it a whole lot. But surprisingly, the most interesting thing was Go Vacation. Oh, and I forgot to mention that other thing, but so I'll get to that. So I picked up Go Vacation because this is like, I don't know if this is an extension of Wii Sports Resort stuff, but it seems kind of along those lines. And I was kind of thinking, yeah, you know, and this supports up to 4 players, mini games sort of stuff. I should probably get it for some potential casual options, but I found it to be a very engaging experience. I wouldn't call it a good game per se. Some of the stuff I've played seems to have good controls and simple goals, but it doesn't seem to be games for the sake of games. It's almost like you can just kind of get lost just wandering through it, enjoying whatever it has to show. And it's just been a fun, neat little experience, which has actually produced some genuine laughs just from interacting with the game. It was actually very surprising. So, Go Vacation, surprising game. I'm actually interested to see how the multiplayer works, because one of the things about it that works compared to some of these other mini-game sort of games is they design areas to just be really explorable. I wouldn't call the terrain necessarily super engaging per se. Like, if you walk along, it's just, oh, well, that's obviously just a flat polygon with some grassy texture on it. And that one's a rocky one. That's a dirt road one. That's some water. That actually looks kind of neat. But there's a lot of it, and it does feel like the geography in general is distinct enough that you can get somewhat of a feeling of where you are. And that's just exploring the marine one. I haven't looked at the other 3 areas too well. I went into the city one, but well, okay, I've been casually playing it, so it's been distracting from my Octopus Traveler. But in my defense, because my entire party got wiped, because there's little stressful incidents like that, sometimes it's nice to just shut the brain off and play something simpler. And Go Vacation seems to be hitting that spot for me surprisingly well. The other thing I started doing is, well, not this weekend, but the weekend before, one of my friends got a Switch. So I have another person in my peer group with a Switch. And at my recommendation, I suggested he prioritize getting Breath of the Wild over Mario Kart 8, although I also bought him Mario Kart 8, so it doesn't really matter. Just a gift to kind of help encourage Switch usage in my peer group. So it's not a completely selfless gift, but because when he came over this past weekend, he had been playing Breath of the Wild and he had questions, and I hadn't fired mine up in a while. I fired mine up, and guess what happens? Even though I'm, just outside the final boss room door, that's when all the DLC kicks in, because it's the first time I've fired it up ever. And at that point, there's a combination of curiosity and, curiosity and completionism, I guess, because there are some things that I know I really want to get, because now at this point my save game isn't valid for, oh, here you are at the end of the game, and that has nothing to do with I couldn't get there. But even if I got there, there's a lot of undone stuff that would be nice to have, I think. So if you're curious what I've done, I've stuck strictly to the DLC that gets announced just because you're in endgame, which basically means I completed the first trial on the Great Plateau, and I took care of stuff in the desert, if you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, then I'm hopefully not spoiling you. And so, yeah, I took care of the desert stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's going to be long and time-consuming, and I should probably prioritize certain other things first. And I decided to go to Trials of the Sword. I think that's what it's called, so you probably know. And I did the beginner one. That was mostly okay, but there were a couple of weird mistakes I made, and, I managed to juggle them and do fine. But I don't know. Breath of the Wild has been put on pause because I really do need to focus on Octopus Traveler, and because Go Vacation has actually been more engaging for me for whatever reason. Mostly because there's some of this endgame stuff reminds me of, especially choosing desert first, it reminds me of some of the negatives of playing Nintendo games. Like, you have to give Nintendo credit for being a very good in the industry company, because not only do they have all these people that come up with these fun and sometimes innovative games, they also employ some real shitheads who have no business being anywhere near the game industry. The people that create those unfun, who the hell thought this was a good idea sort of things. And Breath of the Wild has a couple of them. I was kind of reminded because one of the bosses in Breath of the Wild, I just remembered how much of a piece of shit that fight is. I mean, it's not even, people could call it hard, but stabbing somebody in the stomach with a knife while they're in the middle of playing Smash is also hard, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's notable. It doesn't mean it's fun hard. It means, it's horrible. And they kind of do the same thing here, where you can't pick up on the mechanics, and And at the same time, the Trial of Swords, this medium level stuff, I think this is when they let them free, because like they do the first gaming sin and the very first of the medium level things, where it's like, okay, you're in a room, you haven't had a chance to look around yet, but of course, you know, they put you in a place where, oh, snipers with fiery arrows can see you and start firing on you. Yeah, that's fair, Nintendo. That's fun. Don't let people get their bearings, just throw shit at them immediately. I think the Octoling expansion for Splatoon 2 showed similar levels of what were these people thinking, and I'm in a little bit of a complaining mode, I guess because I'm also very sleep deprived and I haven't had a chance to go back and kick that boss's ass in Octopus Traveler. I wasn't going to do it last night because he has so much fucking health. I mean, his name was Yellow, so I guess I got him past the halfway point. But there were some things slowing me down from doing that, and and of course, you know that, oh yeah, here you go, your entire party's unconscious. Ah, yeah, he just woke up. Well, he was also asleep, so he didn't get to do anything and he immediately died. Oh, yeah, finally, the character regained consciousness and isn't asleep. Oh, but he's the only character left, and he has 5 HP out of his 5,000, and the boss gets first attack, so there's nothing he can do. Yay! Yeah. I don't know. It's questionable. The boss is very beatable, I think, because if there's 2 things I change, maybe 3 things, then he should become significantly more tackleable, unless there's another trick he throws at me when he's even lower. But the problem is it takes so much time, and maybe I'll be speeding things up, because like one problem I'm running into is Cyrus has become a nuke, and my main form of damage against a boss when I'm in the middle of just keeping the core of my team healthy is to just hit him over and over again with Felgen's Bounty and just turn chunks of him in the money. So Cyrus is doing the vast majority of the damage, but he's hitting the 9,999 damage limit, which you can overcome with a support skill. So I guess I should equip that support skill, and I think I know which of his skills he's going to trade off, because I don't need that one for a boss. But you know, there's little things like that. I'm going to change out an accessory item on one character so that they can't go unconscious. Maybe on 2 characters, so neither. It depends how many of those I have. I'm pretty sure I have at least 1, because I've found like all of them, a couple of them twice, so I'll have to see. But it should be doable. I just have to do it. I need the time to do it, and I guess the thing that makes it hard to try to do it tonight is I have stuff to pack up, and Classroom of the Elite, and of course I'm recording this video and I'm going to be processing it, but the processing it shouldn't prevent the watching of anime. It should just make, you know, it's all stuff. I'm just talking stuff. So I guess the plan is see if I can tackle those special dungeons, maybe decide if I'm going to go for the 8 caves afterwards, or if I'm going to take advantage of some of the stuff I'll unlock. Then maybe tackle the final story, maybe for my 4 main characters. And then after that I will decide if I feel done enough, because I'm probably going to leave Octopath in a place where not all of these side quests have been done. Like, I still haven't figured out what to do with the Mother of Dragon quest, which is, you know, weird way to put that, but yeah, I don't know. I still have to figure out what I'm doing there. And that's just one example. There's a lot of them where, oh, I'm looking for a character of a specific name, and I can't help but think, wow, I probably ran into that character, but because I don't normally pay attention to the character names, I probably never noticed. It's very unfortunate. So I'll just have to keep playing at it, I guess. Maybe that character was looking for that. Huh. No, that doesn't make sense. Anyways, I might put it at a pausing point because the truth of the matter is I'm not going to play Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate 24/7. Which may mean I might have opportunities to go back to Octopath to finish up certain things, because the other 4 characters I'll want to do, they'll be advantaged in that they will be able to use very high level equipment, and so they will get through some of their parts of the game much quicker. Because I just have way too much money. I think I went into the endgame area with 2 million leaves, and it was probably actually 2.1 million to be kinda technical, because right now it's at 1.8. So I haven't even scratched the surface in terms of spending the money that I made, and I haven't found anything in the game that's like, oh yeah, here's a villa to spend 1 million leaves on. So my characters are apparently fine financially for the rest of their lives, which made one of the character stories really silly, when it's like, oh, I guess I should probably eat only vegetables just a little bit because I don't have money. I'm like, the fucking hell story, I have a shit ton of money. But I digress. Oh well. Hopefully, I can't think of anything particularly worth mentioning. Did something get delayed? Were both of these coming out today? Something else. Maybe, I don't know. There was some game, I guess there's physical copies coming out next week. It's a combination Metroidvania roguelike that was talked about on that Reddit video where somebody said, oh yeah, here's this review that plagiarized it, and you watch it and you're like, yeah, that's kind of a strange choice of wording on his part since it's the same as yours, but we'll keep watching your video because you're intentionally getting more egregious as you go along, and then it's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, the guy was clearly plagiarizing. So yeah, anyways, I'm diverging a whole lot. Y'all have a nice week.